Today, take a radically Colorado adventure with us as we go to Linger Eatuaries, which is in an old mortuary. We're not just going to share this great haunt to eat at. We're going to share the history of the Olinger family, which put its indelible mark on Denver. We're going to go in depth into this family. We're going to explore the building, explore the eatery, give our unbridled opinion on it. And, of course, what's a stop in this area without Little Man Ice Cream? Come on the adventure with us. Before we get going, I have to mention, if you're thinking about buying, selling, or investing in Colorado, we're your go-to resource. I own a real estate brokerage, Symbio, and we would love to help. Yeah, here we go to the old Olinger Mortuary for a brunch at Linger, taking the namesake from the old Olinger Mortuary. It's one of our favorite restaurants in Denver. Let's take a trip inside before we get to the history. Here we are in the Lower Highland neighborhood, which all the trendy kids call Low High, right here in the center of it. And right across the street here, you can see the redevelopment that happened. There's the old mortuary, that old red brick building that we're getting ready to walk into. But this whole area has seen a rejuvenation, a rehab, and the bottom is a gym. The top here is some shops, and Linger, rightfully named. Linger is part of the Edible Beat Restaurant Collective here in Denver. It's probably the coolest of the themed restaurants, but all of them are worth trying. L5, Root Down, Vital Root. This one, Ophelia's. You gotta try them all. One of Denver's best restaurant collections in our opinion here. And this menu is really awesome, taking inspiration from different culinary cuisines from around the world. This is truly a special restaurant. Here's our first course. Wow.
That looks delicious.
There's some sauce too.
They're so fluffy. Did you already have three? Some of the best donuts we've ever had. They're warm, fluffy, and the filling inside is absolutely delicious.
For our second course, some history. Ugh, even I make myself cringe. You know, it's easy to walk these streets today, past the trendy cafes, the restaurants, the art galleries, and forget what was here before. But not that long ago, right here in the Highlands, stood a place that touched nearly every life in Denver. A place where beginnings and endings, grief and love, all cross paths. This is the story of the Olinger family. Back in 1890, John W. Olinger, who's referred to as J.W. Olinger in many of the newspapers, and his wife Emma left Santa Fe, New Mexico, and set up shop here in Denver, founding Olinger Mortuary at 15th and Platt Streets. For my research, that building no longer stands. John had a vision, not just to run a funeral parlor, but to create a place that treated every soul with dignity, care, and reverence. It was personal, it was sacred, and you constantly see in newspaper articles under the leadership of JW and his son George that they were a very fair family, treating families that had under $1 sometimes for funerals and thousands of dollars with the same exact care and the same exact reverence. John started this business over in the Platt Street Historic District, which is right next to Confluence Park, in a building that looks to be a parking lot now. The saying is sometimes bad things happen to good people, and from all accounts that I've read in historic newspapers, JW seemed like a great human, leaving his mark on Denver in a prominent way. However, his life didn't end without tragedy. On his way to Bloomington, Illinois, where he was from, JW had a robbery happen to the train that he was riding. His friend Mr. Fay was killed right in front of his own eyes. This sent him spiraling. He went so insane that a sheriff had to restrain him on the train and put him in prison. This poor guy loses his good friend W.J. Fay, gets thrown in jail, and then goes back to Denver where he's deemed not insane. They don't want to put him in an asylum. They just don't want him to go that way. So they keep him in the family house. Some neighbors account that he actually tried to burn the house down. So it was ironically death of someone really close to him that sent JW over the edge, someone that deals with death all the time. And I feel bad for him because he died from shock less than 1 year later. But his son George takes over the business, and George W. Olinger leaves quite his mark on Denver as well. It was actually George who built the Olinger that we see in the Highland neighborhood today. In 1908, George did something bold. He built one of the first buildings in the entire Rocky Mountain region designed to be a mortuary from the ground up. Not just a converted house or a back room, a cathedral of memory, right here at 16th and Boulder. In a world where wakes were still held in the family home, George and Emma pioneered the radical idea of the slumber room, the visitation room. These were the first people to hold funerals in a funeral house. It gave families a private, peaceful place outside the chaos of the home to say goodbye. It was a small act, but it changed everything. I mean, really everything in the whole industry. George also left his mark by providing jobs to the Denver area. His caskets were built right here, locally. He gave back in so many ways. He built a house for the blind. He started the Highlanders, which was similar to like Boy Scouts. And that just like kept going for a really long time. So George was this guy who wanted to give back and give back to the community. And from what I can tell, I don't think it was just a show. I don't think that it was just him doing this only for business. For example, one night he brought 1,700 children from the orphanage to a play at the Broadway Theater, just out of the kindness of his heart. You can imagine there was a lot of famous people that took advantage of the Olinger's services. Probably the most famous was Buffalo Bill Cody, who died in 1917. And there was a tug of war that broke out between Wyoming and Colorado over where he should be buried. Of course, Colorado won. While they argued, though, his body rested right here in this restaurant at Olinger for like 6 months. They also prepared Checker Smaldone, Denver's reputed mafia boss, and so many others. All told, about 45,000 people passed through Olinger's care. Death was apparently a good business. From this location, they expanded, and I mean all over the Denver area. They built a new location at Colfax and Magnolia. They picked up the Englewood Mortuary. They bought the Rex B. Yeager Mortuary at Spear and Sherman. They opened up the Crown Hill Cemetery, and they were so savvy because they owned the what was kind of the time's light rail, which were streetcars, they ran the streetcar right to the gates of the Crown Hill Cemetery. So these folks, they knew how to do business, and they knew how to care for people. This family runs business for some time, a partnership centered in the 40s, but in the late 80s, it sold to Moreland International, and it's corporatized like so many things in today's day and age. A Denver staple dies, and the mortuary closes in 1999, making way for this hipster renovation. All things perish through time. The Olingers know that better than any other family. And now, instead of celebrating life through death, we're celebrating life through life, baby. I mean, look at this rooftop bar. What a beautiful view. Alright, you're right, Derek. Enough history. Let's get back to the table and see what this restaurant Linger has to offer. Right on time. There's Cody. Thank you all so much. Cody said, "It's a time to go, you all." But we said, "Hey man, we're outside now. You've got a little time for little man. Because little man ice cream truly is some of the best ice cream in Denver. And if you want to avoid the line, go early. Like, right after brunch or something. They open at 11. So you can get there before the line comes, because the line in the evening, it gets pretty dang long, but it is worth it." Woohoo! Thank you. That's it. Thank you. In case you were wondering, yes, we did eat it right outside our car, faster than we've ever eaten anything. Brain freeze, maybe? Join us on our next Radically Colorado adventure.